Good morning, and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. There's a few things I want to talk about. Obviously, one of them is this nonsense story that the media have put out, saying that it's an exclusive. And I noticed that there's one mainstream media. I'm not going to say much about the name of the publication, but they're claiming that it's an exclusive, that Greg Taylor's days are numbered at Celtic. Yes, of course they are. It's not like it's something that we've been talking about since way before December. Just putting it out there. And something that we've been talking about way before December. And even Brendan Rodgers confirmed it just over a week or so ago, didn't he? He said that, look, we know the way that this is going. Greg Taylor's going to walk away for nothing. Now, some of those publications are now saying that Greg Taylor should go to Rangers to help rectify some situations. You can't make it up, can you? I think if Greg Taylor goes to Rangers, he's no stupid. He's not going to go to Rangers. If he thinks that going to Rangers is the answer to all his woes, but you never know. Maybe he will cross the great divide. It'd be funny if he does. Because as if he's not hated enough by some Celtic fans, he'd be hated even more. And to be the modern day Johnstone, I would say, well, Kenny Miller did it, and everybody hates Kenny Miller. But anyway, that's enough of Greg Taylor. We've known for a long time that he is leaving. There's been talk of Celtic making some significant decisions once the summer transfer window opens for business. Not only looking to recruit new players, they could also be ready to offload some of their own. And this goes on to say, according to, and now they're even quoting Football Insider on this one, which is absolute nonsense. The fact that the mainstream media are then quoting an online saying that Celtic are set to part ways with Greg Taylor. Brendan Rodgers told you, I've been telling you since way before the last transfer window, that if he didn't sign a new contract, he would be offloaded. It was all due to the situation. People that do not watch Celtic and just look at contract situations don't understand the issues that we had with the left back area. Now, they didn't sell Greg Taylor at the last transfer window because one, Alex Bailly wanted away. If I do believe that if we had got in Kieran Tierney and also managed to get in Jeffrey Sloop as covered, I think Greg Taylor would have been sold. I think it was a balancing act that Celtic were playing at the time, and it was a very precarious position that Celtic put themselves in with the whole Greg Taylor situation. Greg Taylor, for me, I stand by the comments that I said way before the last transfer window that he should have been sold the exact same way as Turnbull was sold for £3 million when he only had 6 months left of his contract. They rated Greg Taylor at one point for £8 million. They would have got him for £3 million. They did try to do negotiations with Dynamo Zagreb. They didn't play ball with evaluations, and so let it be that it was left at that. Anyway, it is what it is. Snap out of it, says Callum McGregor. Callum McGregor warns against further complacency after the St Johnstone defeat. Callum McGregor is determined to avoid any more shock lapses in performances after the defeat to the bottom league St Johnstone, who I said in yesterday's video, fair play to St Johnstone. They played 3-5-2. Envious as fuck that they played 3-5-2. I still don't know in this day and age why a top manager like Brendan Rodgers doesn't change his formation and play two strikers up front. Celtic are built for two strikers up front. Anybody that's watched football over it, and you know that some managers try to play the way that they play in a European context, but really good managers are able to change formation for certain types of games. And Brendan Rodgers is just, for me, and people are saying, it's the same as the last time he was here. It's the same old boring type of football that Brendan played before he up sticks and left and went down to Leicester the last time. I think this time it is purely on the players, not doing what they're told. I mean, the fact that he took the hump and hauled off a couple of players at half time at the weekend, I think that we all know that he's targeting Kuhn. I think that Kuhn has has been an enigma since Jota returned, rather than flourishing and trying to have a sort of an ongoing situation on the pitch. What I thought would have happened, I thought that you would have Jota on one side trying to show that he's the superstar. You'd had Kuhn on the other side trying to outshine Jota. It would have been the perfect combination. But instead, Kuhn doesn't seem to be going in for stuff. Whether this whole talk of Newcastle United coming in for him in the summer has his agent said that, look, this deal may happen. There's a good possibility that this deal will happen, and maybe he's just went, the Scottish League's far too easy. It's a walk in the park. We're so many points in front. It doesn't matter if we drop points. We're still going to win the league. But that's not the way. Then that's not the mentality that you have when you're at Celtic. And Brendan Rodgers will make sure that those type of players will not be here after the summer. We can all say that it's a massive, massive summer, and people were saying, there's only a few weeks ago that a lot of the people, a lot of the viewers were saying, we need to get Brendan Rodgers tied up on a new contract. Now, because we've lost a game, lose one game, you're getting people saying, well, we've lost 2 games in the space of a month or so. Saying that, get Brendan Rodgers out of here. I mean, who do you bring in? Have a serious conversation about this in the comment section. Who would you want to bring in as manager? Neil Lennon came in after Brendan Rodgers left the last time, and we all know how that worked out. I certainly wouldn't entertain going back down that road. Ange Postecoglou has proven not only that he can he not do it on a European level with Celtic, that he can't do it in the English Premier League with Spurs. Ange Postecoglou has also turned around and said that he would not come back to Celtic. He says he never goes back. It's like clubs are like exes. You never go back. That was Ange Postecoglou's own words when he left Celtic and joined Spurs. So where did we go next? If the witches are out and the pitchforks are out and we're going to chase Brendan Rodgers out the door this summer, who do you go in for? And it's a serious question. I mean, who do you go in for? I don't think it will happen. Brendan Rodgers will be here next season, and I could stake 50 pence on it because I'm not a betting type of man. But Brendan Rodgers will be here next summer and next season. Will he sign a new contract? That is completely up to the Celtic board and whether he and the Celtic power brokers see that the job that he's done is good enough, see that the players that he's brought in has been good enough, the turnaround of players. And I think the big question mark is whether or not the next couple of weeks are going to be important for Celtic. They're going to be really important for Celtic players. For ones that are first team starters, first team regulars, if they want to prove that they are Champions League level, if they want to prove that they should be at a big club, you either go and find yourself a club that's going to play in the Champions League or you up your game on a domestic level for Celtic, because Brendan Rodgers will not. And I'm going to stick my neck in there and say that it was a good thing that, I mean, I know that Brendan has his haters within the Celtic fan base, still haven't forgiven him for the last time, but I think that he's done more than enough over the past 2 seasons to rectify that. And the fact that he did what he did at the weekend, and going into the dressing room, tell Kuhn, you're fucking shite, by the way. You're not even, just you get your tracksuit on. Didn't even come out and sit on the touchline next to me because I'll. And Jeffrey Schlupp was also given some familiar type of words. But when you look at it, if you're not going to turn up for little games like that, I mean, Callum McGregor has told the players, you need to sort this shit out because this isn't Celtic style. And I'm glad that it was left to the likes of Brendan Rodgers, John Kennedy. He may have his haters, and he may have his lovers. He's one of the static things that are inside Celtic Park. And then the reason I'm going to talk about that is because Jota spoke about it. Jota spoke about it. Says it doesn't matter who the manager is when you come to Celtic. And this happens every big club. This just doesn't happen at Celtic, by the way. This happens at every big club. There's certain formats and things that are in place within a club. And the long-term strategy is built in amongst these players that are there for the longer term, these staff behind the scenes that are there for the long term. A manager can come in, he can bring in his own assistant, he can bring in this, he can bring in that, but basically the nucleus of the backroom staff of any club, any working business is there for the long term. And Jota said, look, he says when he came back, and you can go and check the interview, Jota said, look, it was like just I hadn't went away. There's certain things that are still the exact same as it was when Brendan wasn't here and when it was Ange Postecoglou. And even he says managers can come in and change things and change a little bit of formations and tweaks and how they want to play. But the background of the club is basically the same. A lot of people say that that's a good thing. Some people say that that was maybe a bad thing. Anyway, Callum McGregor said with 13 points clear ahead of Rangers, we could still lift the trophy this weekend, depending on results. Will they get beat 2 weeks in a row? Well, they're a shambles away from home. We can't win the league this weekend because they play the Sunday, do they not? They play after us. So we couldn't win the league this weekend. Imagine winning the league sitting at home. That'd be disappointing, wouldn't it? You want to win it in front of your own fans. Will we get the chance to do that? Maybe, because I think that the first game after the split will be at Celtic Park, and then the second game after the split will be away to the Ibrox club, which will be fantastic, because they'll think, we're going to beat them, because we've won the trophy of we beat Celtic twice this season. Fair play to you, lads. Fair play to you. Anyway, Chris Sutton been talking about Yang. Although Yang did make a difference when he came on, he had an easy cutback just after Luke McCown shot. Luke McCown, who took a shot late on into the game, straight into the keeper's hands. It was everybody that took a shot at the weekend that was on target was straight at the keeper. Jamesy Forrest, you're taking him all day long to put it right into the corner of the net when he gets to the edge of the box. And he fires it. I mean, how many times have you seen James Forrest over the years? Cut inside, come from the wing, cut inside, shoot. And this time he hits it right down the middle of the throat of the keeper. And you're thinking, James, we've seen you do it so many times. But that comes down to game time. It does come down to game time, if you ask me. And the fact that he's not been fit for the majority of this calendar year, even though we're only in April. Anyway, Yang cut the ball back. Ida was standing right in the 6-yard box where we've been asking him to stand for weeks because that's where he scores his most goals. And Yang just didn't see him standing there at all and fucked the whole pass up. Rather than a 2-yard tap-in, it was freaking... And I did see it on the pitch at the time. Adam Ida was having a shouting match at Yang, and Yang shouted back at him. And that shows a little bit of frustration that were in the team at that point. And I think that what is it with Celtic? If they don't get off to a quick start, and teams have caught on to this, and we spoke yesterday about the formation that St Johnstone played. They played a 3-5-2, which was fantastic. When they went into defence mode, they then went with a 5 along the back, and then they had players diagonally, so it was a fantastic formation. The formation for me was brilliant defensive and fantastic in attack. Celtic need to be able to pass the ball quicker. They didn't do that. It's as simple as that. They didn't do it. Anyway, with that being said, it's time we move on. It is time we move on because I'm sure that they'll all be back in training today. I don't know if they would have had Monday off. I hope Brendan has got them in and had a few good words with the whole group of players. There has been a little bit of a social media silence from Celtic. Always happens after a losing game like that. We'll see how it pans out today. I will get back with the lives in the next couple of days. I've had to get a completely new PC. It's a Mac. I'm going for the Mac Mini, and I'm waiting on it to get delivered. That's the issue. Anyway, on that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are. Thank you for sticking with the channel, and thank you for subscribing also. Have a fantastic day, you, for watching right to the end of this video. Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world. Never even finished my tea.